What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, two-time heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. He has an interesting story as to why he wanted to fight and come back against former Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC American heavyweight world champion, superstar boxer Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He says there was two reasons for his motivation to come back. And he also states, interestingly enough, this fight between himself and Deontay Wilder, this trilogy to their saga, is bigger than any fight he could have with fellow countrymen, two-time unified heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer Anthony Joshua. So Tyson Fury, he states that this is the biggest fight in the United States. That makes it the biggest fight overall in the sport of boxing. Because if it's a huge fight in the U.S. and the market for boxers, you have to be a superstar in the U.S. if you're going to be a superstar in the sport of boxing, a crossover star. He says you have to do so in the U.S. So this fight is being proven to be the biggest fight in boxing. This trilogy match that everybody claimed they didn't want to see is proven to be the biggest fight in the sport of boxing because the ticket sales, the demand to see this trilogy is at an all-time high. So we know, like Tyson Fury stated, the rematch between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder that took place February 2020, the highly anticipated rematch to their first fight that ended in a draw, he states that they broke the live gate at the MGM in Las Vegas for heavyweights. So he stated that this is even in a higher demand than that fight. So that makes it the biggest fight in all of boxing, including Undisputed showdown with fellow countrymen that was widely speculated to be coming to fruition August 14th of this year when they attempted to bypass Deontay Wilder's contractually obligated trilogy match with Tyson Fury. With that said, Tyson Fury, he also states that the reason Deontay Wilder did an interview in which he said he was responding to pictures of me being grossly overweight, and he stated that I was done and wasn't coming back. He said that was one motivation. He says, but another motivation is a conversation he had with legendary Hall of Fame icon, superstar, boxer, Iron Mike Tyson, in which he is named after Iron Mike Tyson. So he states that the conversation he had with Mike Tyson and the fact that Deontay Wilder made some comments about Mike Tyson, claiming that he would knock out Mike Tyson in the first round if they ever fought in his prime or at the current time. So he says that the fact that Deontay Wilder made comments and remarks about a guy who is retired and not in his era was highly disrespectful to the past boxers that paved the way, including Mike Tyson. And he stated that that conversation he had with Mike Tyson, and you know his father, Big John Fury, is a huge fan of Mike Tyson, thus the reason why he's named after Mike Tyson. He says that completely motivated me to beat him. So essentially, he had the motivation that Mike Tyson had when Mike Tyson saw his idol in Muhammad Ali, the GOAT, greatest of all time. He's beyond the icon. He's beyond the legend, right? And Muhammad Ali, he stated that when he saw Larry Holmes beat Muhammad Ali in Muhammad Ali's advanced stage of his career, Mike Tyson said that motivated him to want to fight Larry Holmes, the great legend, icon, superstar, Hall of Famer in Larry Holmes. So he says that when he saw Larry Holmes beat Muhammad Ali in the manner he did, and Muhammad Ali being past his prime, he says that he took it in a way that he felt it was disrespectful for Larry Holmes to beat Muhammad Ali in that manner. This is Mike Tyson's motivation. And Mike Tyson, he ended up fighting and beating Larry Holmes and knocking Larry Holmes out. So with that said, now we know Deontay Wilder, he didn't fight Iron Mike Tyson, but the comments he made is what Tyson Fury is saying that motivates him. Okay, Tyson Fury, 30 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 21 wins by way of knockout. He's 32 years of age, stands at 6'9" with an 85-inch arm reach. He and Deontay Wilder, they will be doing business again July 24th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the T-Mobile Arena. Deontay Wilder, 42 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 41 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, stands at 6'7" with an 83-inch arm reach. And like I said, he'll be doing business with Tyson Fury in a trilogy match July 24th. With that said, you know, Muhammad Ali wasn't that old when he lost to Larry Holmes, but he just simply wasn't the same fighter he once was in the 60s, okay? Muhammad Ali was in his 30s when he lost to Larry Holmes, but he just wasn't the same guy, okay? So with that said, you know, Mike Tyson, he wasn't happy with the way things played out between himself, between Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali, okay? So Larry Holmes, he beat Muhammad Ali back in 1980, okay? So Muhammad Ali wasn't the same guy he was in the 60s. Mike Tyson beat Larry Holmes in 88. He TKO'd him, okay? So 8 years, this was brewing from when he was a kid. And so Tyson Fury is saying that this was brewing from the moment he heard the comments about, made about Mike Tyson. He said even more so than the comments made about him being overweight and being unable to come back to the sport of boxing. He says that wasn't as motivating as it was to hear him make mention of Mike Tyson, who was his idol growing up and was a huge fan. His father was a huge fan of Mike Tyson. That's who he was named after. With that said, he got the stoppage victory in the second fight in the 7th round. Deontay Wilder's former trainer, Mark Breland, threw in the towel. First fight ended in a draw. With that said, a lot of people question why Mike Tyson always favored Tyson Fury. And here it is explained. Because Tyson Fury, Big John Fury. Now, we saw they did a special when John Fury and Mike Tyson and Tyson Fury were all talking, and they explained how he got the name Tyson Fury, named after Mike Tyson, so on and so forth. Mike Tyson he's an icon in the sport of boxing. He became the fastest world champion, heavyweight world champion in history of the sport of boxing, and still holds true today. And many people question and wonder, how could Mike Tyson always pick against his fellow countrymen in Deontay Wilder over with Tyson Fury over Deontay Wilder? And it explained, I'm sure Mike Tyson probably felt slighted by the comments made by Deontay Wilder, obviously. Tyson Fury, he didn't reveal the comments, you know, what the conversation was about. But clearly, you know, there's a conversation that was had, you know, and all parties involved on that side wasn't happy with the comments. Mike Tyson is a competitor, okay? The comments made by Deontay Wilder, when asked how would he fare against Mike Tyson, he was being honest with what he believed to be true. His truth, that he would knock out Mike Tyson, okay? Mike Tyson, he comes from a different era where the fighters of yesteryear, you don't say you would beat them, okay? It's just like legend, Hall of Famer, icon, superstar, former 5-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, and is still showing to be the pay-per-view king, doing 1 million+ pay-per-views with a YouTube sensation, that being the man known as Floyd Money Mayweather. He got a lot of slack when he made the comments and stated that he was better than Muhammad Ali. Even Muhammad Ali's daughter, who's a legend and an icon and a Hall of Famer in the sport of boxing, and Layla Ali, who retired undefeated as well, she didn't take too kind of those comments as well. And Floyd Mayweather, he responded to everybody's critique of his comments, and Floyd Mayweather, he simply stated, well, I didn't get in this sport to say that anybody was better than me. I didn't dedicate my life to the sport of boxing to say that anybody was better than me. I didn't get in this sport of boxing to give anybody credence over me. I got into this sport to be the absolute best. and I'm retiring undefeated. I fought more world champions in the history of the sport of boxing than anybody else, and I am TBE, the best to ever do it. That's why he named himself TBE, and Muhammad Ali was named the GOAT, greatest of all time. He named himself TBE, the best ever. Okay, so Deontay Wilder, the new age fighters, they see their value in themselves, and they're not going to pick yesteryear's fighters over them. Okay, they believe that they would beat yesteryear's fighters. Like I said, it's a different era. You wouldn't get Mike Tyson saying that. If you look at the Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard interview on Arsenio Hall show, and Sugar Ray Leonard and Mike Tyson, at the peak of their careers, they're saying that, no, Muhammad Ali is the GOAT while sitting on the couch. Because if it wasn't for him paving the way, they wouldn't be where they're at. But even skill set, you could just see, them, conceding to Muhammad Ali. Mike Tyson even bowed, so it's a different era, okay? But again, this goes unnoticed. See, Muhammad Ali, he was one that got a lot of slack because he named himself the greatest of all time after he beat Sonny Liston, and he got a lot of slack because people were saying, how could you say such over Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson? How could you slight Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, Jack Johnson, the guys that preceded you? So that goes, that gets dismissed. That Muhammad Ali himself, when he said he was better than Joe Louis, when he said he was better than Sugar Ray Robinson, he was the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Well, he too got a lot of slack. So this is nothing new within the sport of boxing. So this trilogy match, Deontay Wilder has a huge chip on his shoulder. Obviously, Tyson Fury is saying that Deontay Wilder's making up tons and tons of excuses because he can't accept the loss. Deontay Wilder is highly motivated for this trilogy match. And I believe Deontay Wilder will be the victor. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather Vahid Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.